The chime of the bell beckons us into a sacred time. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all. We extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta comunidad donde ampliamos el círculo del amor, honrando el valor y la dignidad inherentes de todas. We greet all those who join us this morning. We hope those watching the live stream will fill out the online attendance form and refer to the many announcements in the order of service. We ask those here in person to take a moment after the service and introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. Our guest preacher today is the Reverend Dr. Robert M. Hardies. He is lead minister of the First Parish in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the Unitarian Universalist chaplain at Harvard University. Rob is an experienced preacher, teacher, counselor, and activist. A student of Emerson, Thoreau, and the New England Transcendentalists, Rob often encounters the sacred in nature, and in his spare time enjoys leading walking pilgrimages along the Camino de Santiago. Thank you for being here. Now, yes. Now, please join Emily Lopater-Smith and Chelsea D'Souza for our first hymn.
Good morning. I'd like to invite you all to rise in body or in spirit as you're able and join all of us in singing song number 1064 in your teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home. Low below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can sing. I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have
whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done, you are welcome here. You are welcome to this time, this space, this moment that we carve out of often busy and chaotic weeks. You are welcome to this time for collective breaths, for words, for music, for lighting candles, and for us to simply exist here together. And you are invited to worship this morning with these words from Ta-Nehisi Coates. I believed and still do that our bodies are ourselves, that my soul is the voltage conducted through neurons and nerves, and that my spirit is my flesh. Our bodies are ourselves. My soul is the voltage conducted through neurons and nerves. My spirit is my flesh. Wow, okay. Yes to all of that. The essence is that you, that spark of life is in your body, is of your body. And it is, you are divine. In other words, you contain the holy within you right now. And now I invite you to take a breath as we enter into this time of worship in body, mind, and spirit.
Please join with me in reading the words of our congregational covenant, which are printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
big thank you to all our instrumentalists today. I have said it previously, but it is worth repeating. I have paid a cover charge for the privilege of drinking watered-down drinks to hear far worse music. So we are, we are indeed enjoying you all this morning. Thank you so much. This is a time during the service when we pause, when we take time to enjoy just being. It's the time when we stop rushing and try to shut out distractions. It's the time during the week when we are able to be comfortable with the silence. A mind that is racing worries about the future or recycles regrets from the past. Those whose mind has found a peaceful pace are able to accept the blessings as they come and handle the challenges of the moment. And so, we have intentionally carved out this time to calmly enter into a time of quietness. This is a time that some call meditation and others name prayer. Let your body settle into a comfortable place. Breathe with me as we gather to do the holy work of kinship and support. Open your mind, open your heart. God of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, we give thanks for the gift of life and for the companions supporting us as we make this journey with them. May we, in turn, lovingly support them. Give us the courage to speak up for the well-being, the health of the planet, and for ourselves. When we fall short, grant us the tenacity to try again. Give us the ability to embody our faith and our values through not only our words, but most especially through our deeds. May we be humble as we open ourselves to further learning and growth. May we continue to be transformed by the Spirit of truth and love. May our hearts be at peace, even as the world is in tumult. May our sense of peace spread to those around us and to others as we continue on our journey. We pray in the names of all helpers of humankind. Amen. We pause now to get together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts. Dina Stucker took a spill last week and is in rehabilitation. We hope she mends quickly. Dr. Howard Bosson continues to recuperate from a medical procedure last week, and we also wish him a speedy recovery. In the book, which we put in the foyer for you to write down your joys or your concerns, we see a note that tells us that these gorgeous flowers today are for Jeff Scarda's birthday last week and Penny Serling's birthday next week. So we wish them a big happy birthday. We now turn to a practice inspired by African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We say aloud or bring to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this religious community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. We now enter into a time of stillness. Even in stillness, there's movement. Sometimes it takes time for the molecules of change to shift form. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, transformation is taking place. In the spirit of love, hope, and compassion, we enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, and transformation.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization that shares our Unitarian Universalist values and through which we may live out our principles in the world. This week, that organization is the Wildlife Center of Texas. The nonprofit Wildlife Center receives over 9,000 injured, ill, and orphaned wild animals each year. This morning, we welcome Randolph Watson, community outreach volunteer at the Wildlife Center of Texas, to tell us more.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Randolph Watson, and I am from the Houston SPCA's Wildlife Center of Texas. On behalf of the Wildlife Center, I would like to thank you for selecting us to be one of your shared offering recipients. The mission of the Wildlife Center of Texas is to care for injured, ill, orphaned wildlife through rehabilitation, release, and public education. We are one of the largest wildlife facilities in the country, taking in thousands of animals each year. Last year, we admitted more than 14,000 animals. Our team of staff and volunteers helps these animals get well, grow up, and return to their natural habitats. The Houston area is surrounded by wildlife, providing an array of essential environmental services. These animals help keep our natural spaces healthy and vibrant. Our efforts at the Wildlife Center offset the impact of urban life on these animals. It is because of the generosity of organizations and individuals such as yourselves that we can help these animals. The Wildlife Center does not receive financial support from local, county, state, or federal entities. We are supported by private donations only. In addition to financial support, members of our community help the Wildlife Center by donating materials and their time. We are primarily a volunteer-based organization, and volunteering at the center is a terrific way to see many of our wildlife neighbors up close and help them. You can learn more about how to help us by visiting our website at wildlifecenteroftexas.org. Thank you.
Those in our sanctuary will find the instructions for text giving in the order of service next to the name of the shared offering recipient, and those watching the live stream will see the instructions on your screen. Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask you to give generously. An offering will now be gratefully received.
In dedicating the offering by saying the words that can be found in the order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
Good morning, friends. My name is Rob Hardees. I want to thank you, Cheryl, for that kind introduction earlier, and thank you, Reverend Scott and Reverend Colin, for the invitation to be here this weekend. We had a lovely day yesterday with a group of us from church exploring the wisdom and consolation that our Unitarian Universalist tradition offers us as we consider issues of living and dying. It was a rich time that we spent together, and I'm very grateful for that. I also bring you greetings from our congregation in Cambridge, Massachusetts, from the wilds of Harvard Square, where I preach and where I serve the community there at First Parish in Cambridge. They send their greetings. And I also want to say Happy Pride. I understand the parade was last night. As it happens, I've been preaching around this month of June in different cities, and this is my third Pride of the month. So I'm feeling especially proud today. And perhaps in honor of Pride, our reading this morning is from our first great gay bard, Walt Whitman. And this is a responsive reading that we'll find in the back of our hymnal, the gray hymnal, at number 645. I'll read the plain text and invite you to join with me in the italicized text. This is an excerpt from Whitman's Song of the Open Road, again, number 645. Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me. I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine.
All seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women. You have done such good to me. I will do the same to you.
Whoever you are, come, travel with me. However sweet these laid-up stores, however convenient this dwelling, we cannot remain here.
However sheltered this court, and however calm these waters, we must not anchor here.
Together, the inducements shall be greater. We will sail pathless and wild seas.
We will go where winds blow, waves dash, and the Yankee clipper speeds by under full sail.
Forward, after the great companions, and to belong to them, they too are on the road.
Onward to that which is endless, as it was beginningless, to undergo much, tramps of days, rests of nights.
To see nothing anywhere but what you may reach and pass. To look up or down no road, but it stretches and waits for you. Here ends our reading.
I invite you to turn in your teal hymnal to hymn number 1011, Return Again. Rise as you are able in body or in spirit.
Return again.
Friends, I have just returned from a journey to the end of the world. And this morning, I want to share with you what I witnessed there, what I experienced, and what that journey taught me about how, together, we might confront the many endings in our own lives, how, together, we might confront the possibility of the end of the world as we know it. My sermon is called To the End of the World and Back Again. On the northwest coast of Spain, in the province of Galicia, there is a small finger of land that juts out into the North Atlantic Ocean. A rugged, rocky mound battered by wind and sea. The Spaniards call this place Finisterre, which comes from the Latin finis, end, and terre, world, the end of the world. You see, the ancient inhabitants of the Iberian Peninsula believed Finisterre to be the westernmost point of the continent, and therefore, literally, the end of the known world. There was the ocean, and then at the horizon, for all they knew, a void. And to be sure, Finisterre doesn't disappoint the apocalyptic imagination. To walk out on that spit of land even today is to be buffeted by winds strong enough to knock you over, and to look out from vertigo-inducing cliffs over a vast and roiling sea. Sailors have long called this forbidding coastline the Costa de Muerte, the coast of death, for all the lives lost here to shipwreck. So Finisterre is a forbidding place, but it's also a sacred place. Long before Christians began making pilgrimages to nearby Santiago de Compostela, the Celts and other ancient peoples made pilgrimages here to Finisterre. They journeyed to this place they believed to be the end of the world, and at dusk watched the sun as it disappeared below the watery horizon, and they prayed. They prayed that the sun would not abandon them. They prayed for its return. From great slabs of rock, they built altars to the sun, altars that remain to this day, and that bear witness to the fact that our ancestors found great spiritual significance in this act of confronting the end of the world as they knew it. Now, it strikes me that it must have taken courage, no, for our ancestors to have journeyed to that place and confronted the frightening possibility of the end of the world. You know, they could have not made the journey. They could have stayed home. But they came in groups, large and small. They came face to face with their fears and together offered up a prayer for their collective deliverance. It must have taken courage. And it still does, doesn't it? To this very day, it takes courage for us to confront both the endings in our own lives and the possibility of the end of the world as we know it to be. After all, we live at a time when rumors of the end of the world are run rife, while apocalyptic fantasies routinely play out on our movie screens. Apocalyptic realities fill the nightly news. Rising seas, blazing fires, collapsing ecosystems, crumbling democracies. At the end of the 19th century, The philosopher William James spoke words that are more true today than when he first uttered them. He said, "We live in a world that is uncertain of being saved." And then he asked his listeners, "Are you willing to participate in such a world? Are you willing to risk loving a world whose salvation is uncertain?" That was the question on my mind when earlier this month I made my own pilgrimage to Finisterre. Joined by 24 other Unitarians from the Boston area, we walked nearly 100 miles along the fabled Camino de Santiago, beginning in Santiago de Compostela and ending at the ocean, at Finisterre. Many of us made the journeys because we ourselves were grappling with endings in our own lives. Life transitions, lost relationships, lost jobs. One pilgrim wrestled with the unresolved grief over his father's death. Another carried with her the ashes of her recently deceased mother. And at the end of our journey, when she finally made it to Finisterre, she scattered a portion of her mother's remains to the wind and sea and said her goodbye. Having now led many such walking pilgrimages, I've learned that each pilgrim takes to the road for deeply personal reasons. Each of us has something in our souls that needs to be worked through, worked out, and for me at least, there's something about walking that helps my soul do that working through. The simple act of just placing one foot in front of the other over and over again, nothing more to do but that, frees up my mind and soul to do their work. The Buddha said, "Work out your salvation with diligence." And he himself took to the roads as a wanderer, as a pilgrim in his own right. That's what it seemed each of us was doing on this pilgrimage, working out our own salvation. A profoundly personal and sometimes lonely journey, that is. And in this sense, there's a sense in which every pilgrim walks alone. But what I learned on my journey is that there's another sense in which a pilgrim is never alone. For one thing, the path that we walked, the Camino, had been trod by other pilgrims for centuries, if not millennia. They too confronted their fear of the endings in their lives. And to journey along a route held sacred by so many for so long is to feel as though you're walking in the very footsteps of your ancestors, accompanied by them. What's more, we were joined on the Camino by pilgrims from all over the world, college students from Germany, a church group from South Korea, pilgrims from Africa and South America. And though we all spoke different languages, we always greeted one another with the same words, "Buen camino." Our little group of Unitarians from Boston, we would get together each night for a shared meal. We'd break bread together. We'd sing together. We'd pray together. We'd share experiences from the journey. And so what could have been a lonely journey was instead a warm and companionable one, full of laughter and song. In fact, each night we sang a simple song that reminded us that we were not alone on our journey, that we accompanied one another. And I just want to share that brief song with you right now. It was a simple mantra. It went, walking with you is my prayer. A reminder that even when it seems we're alone with our struggles, we never, in fact, walk alone. We walk together. And I think this is what we hope for our lives, isn't it? To be in good company as we make the sometimes difficult journeys of life. Isn't that what first brought us into religious community? Something drew us through those doors for the first time, right? Or the doors of another church, something deeply personal, a question, a crisis, a longing, a need. And we brought our hopes and struggles to the church because we had an intuition. We intuited that it would be better for us not to wrestle with those questions by ourselves. By coming here, we chose to walk our own spiritual path in community so we could support and guide one another, offer solace and companionship, pick one another up when we stumble and fall. You know, a few years back, I heard a talk given by the great and wise spiritual teacher, Thomas More, the author of Care of the Soul. Speaking to a group of ministers about the care of souls, More said something I'll never forget. He said, you know, all the great literature about the soul shows that the one thing the soul needs more than anything else, more than a prayer, more than a practice, is a friend. What the soul needs most is a friend. The most important thing I learned on my journey to the end of the world is don't walk alone. What else did that journey to Finisterre teach me? The pilgrimage reminded me that even as we travel through an unknown land into an unknown future, and friends, that's the journey that we're all on right now, we must remember to savor every step of the journey along the way. I'll tell you, day after day, as I moved across the face of the good earth at the pace of only my own footfall, rather than from a speeding car, it transformed my relationship to time and space and earth. Everything slows down. I began to feel and trust that point of contact between the sole of my foot and the earth. I learned that there was strength there and intimacy with the creation all around me. The smell of eucalyptus and pine, the bright colors of wild foxglove and Scotch broom, the songs of warblers and the lowing of cattle. It's true that when I finally arrived at the coast of Finisterre, the buffeting winds and vast sea made me feel small and powerless, but I also felt a part of it all, and thus enlarged. I want to carry that ample sense of self, that intimate relationship with earth, with me into whatever the future may bring. You know, the author E.B. White once wrote, "Each morning I wake up torn between two impulses. The impulse to savor the world and the impulse to save it." And then he added, "It makes it hard to plan my day." Right? And I'll bet many of us have felt torn by this choice. Do I slow down and savor life's blessings? Do I go to the barricades and fight the good fight? But I hope we've all learned by now that this is a false choice. We've got to do both. We must both savor and save the world, for the two are inextricably linked. Think about it. Why would you bother saving a planet whose beauty and grandeur you had not delighted in? One final lesson I learned on my pilgrimage to Finisterre is that what we fear is the end of the world. What we fear may be the end of the world, often is not. When the ancients came to Finisterre, they weren't, in fact, at the end of the world, of course. It was just the end of the world as they knew it, as they thought it to be. Other possibilities lay beyond, possibilities they hadn't yet imagined. It makes me wonder how the apocalyptic stories we tell one another might serve to limit our moral imagination. I'm not suggesting we be complacent about the crises that we face. I am suggesting that perhaps we need a new life-giving vision, a new story. Which leads me to my final thought. When pilgrims arrive at Finisterre, having completed their journeys, the tradition is to gather on the rocks at the furthest tip of the peninsula and watch the sunset into the western sky, into the sea. And so that's what we did when we got there. It was June, though, and the sun didn't set till after 10 p.m. By that time of night, the wind had abated and enough that calm prevailed. And the moon was already rising behind our backs in the east. And the setting sun lit up the whole western sky, the ocean glittering its reflection. Everyone was silent and a little bit in awe. It was beautiful. And in that moment, I thought again about those ancient ancestors making their pilgrimage to what they believed was the end of the world. The fear and trepidation they must have felt. The courage and strength it took for them to make that journey. And I wondered if it came as a surprise to them to discover that the end of the world was beautiful. The sun, the ocean, the sky, a place of beauty. It made me wonder if we too don't have a beautiful surprise in store for us. I wonder if we or our children or our children's children will one day discover that the endings we now anticipate for our own lives and for our world are also, in fact, beautiful new beginnings. Beginnings full of possibilities that lie beyond the limits of our present imagination. I don't know that to be true, but having journeyed to the end of the world, I do now hold it as a possibility. And I offer that possibility to you and to your imagination in love. Amen.
In your gray hymnal, our final hymn is number 163 for the earth forever turning. Please rise in body or in spirit, and let's sing one more time together.
For
As we extinguish our chalice, please join with me in saying the words that are printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And now, friends, may the earth, forever turning, uphold and sustain you on the journey of your life. May you remember to save and savor every step. And may you never walk alone. Amen.
Thank you for joining us. We want to know who you are and would love to connect with you. Please fill out the link to the online attendance form, and if you are on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our congregation, email us at membership@firstuuhouston.org. Thanks so much.